What is interesting in life? What situation brought him here? He is about to die, falling from the sky in an attempt to grab something that was supposed to help, to save the situation. However, it is worth going back to the beginning. A small child of the aliens with blue skin was lying in his bed when suddenly the alarm sounded. The parents were in a panic, not knowing what to do and how to save their offspring. They put the cub in a capsule, presenting a small ball with a fish called the minion. He had to take care of the child. They also gave pacifiers. Dad began to say something about what fate had in store, but the boy did not hear it. The planet was being pulled into a black hole. Mother and father died, but the capsule still continued to move through space, but he was not the only one who was destined to survive that day. Another capsule with, so to speak, Mr. Dobrusic was also moving nearby, which landed in a luxurious house, while the child of the aliens accidentally ended up in prison. When the term was shortened, he was given the opportunity to attend school, but even there he did not have a peaceful life, because Mr. Dobrusic was always better. He had the ability to fly, he was super strong, a laser from his eyes, but the alien boy had something more interesting. He was incredibly intelligent, gifted with the ability to create something for chaos. From the very beginning, he understood the truth that good is rewarded and evil is cornered. While ordinary children at school learned to sing songs, he learned to dehydrate objects and return them to their former form. Perhaps being bad is his destiny, so the boy decided that he was destined to become a supervillain. The guy who could fly called himself Macho Man, the protector of Metro City, while the newcomer was called Megamind. A superhero and a supervillain who constantly fought together. The head of the prison came to Megamind's cell because he gave him the gift of Macho Man, saying that he did not even think that the superhero would be angry. The boss was not going to give away the wristwatch, so he put it on himself. Megamind asked what time it was, because he didn't want to be late for the opening of the museum in honor of Macho Man, and the clock itself started recording. A car drove through the streets of Metro City, which turned on the cloaking generator and became invisible. Thousands of people gathered near the Macho Men Museum because it was a kind of gratitude for the years of protection. The report was conducted by journalist Roxanne Ritchie, who worked together with her cameraman, Hal. He tried to ask Roxanne out for coffee from time to time because he liked her. The operator began to talk and was embarrassed until the same invisible car drove up to the journalist and stole her. The head of the prison left with his wristwatch, but suddenly he turned into Megamind, while the real supervillain took the watch from the boss and ran away, saying that he would always be a heathen. Megamind was taken by Minion and together they headed to disrupt the opening of the museum. Macho Man danced, flew, interacting with the crowd. The superhero talked about the fact that his greatest honor is to serve people. In his lair, Mega Brain talked to the brain bots, played with them, and devised his sinister plan. He put on a robe and sat down in a chair, taking the brain bot in his arms, while Roxanne Ritchie, who had been stolen by the minion, was seated in front of him. Ritchie said that Megamind is too predictable. He tried to impress her by threatening her with alligators and other weapons. In the center of Metro City, a museum of Macho Man with his huge statue was opened. Suddenly brainbots began to emerge from the crowd, and the sculpture itself was enveloped in black and thick clouds. Brainbots showed an image of Mega Brain, who told that the citizens of Metro City will never forget this day, and Macho Man, in turn, will not even be able to find the thief's lair. Roxanne, who was shown by Megamind, only calmly stated that they were in an abandoned observatory. The superhero flew to save the journalist. Ritchie really thought that she was about to be saved, but Megamind just laughed and then revealed that Macho Man was trapped, because they themselves were only in a mock-up observatory. The thief ordered a death ray to be directed at his opponent, which he thought would kill him, but it didn't happen right away. The servant reported that the beam was still heating up. Megamind was disappointed, because so many times he ordered everything to be checked. But at one point, Macho Man tried to get out of the dome of the observatory, but he couldn't do it. The hero stated that the observatory is made of copper, which is his greatest weakness. Megamind thought Macho Man was just laughing at them, because that's the stupidest vulnerability. At the same second, the death ray struck. An explosion rang out, the observatory was destroyed. Only a skeleton remained of Macho Man. This meant that Megamind had won. He won for the first time in his life. In the same evening, he came to the city hall and took the floor, listening to questions from reporters. Roxanne was the first to ask. She wondered what would happen to the city. The thief replied that a lot of interesting things await them. Megamind was having fun. He stole pictures, money, just possessed. They had everything and nothing at the same time, because everything was given too easily. The victory was no longer so much joy, even including the kidnapping of Roxanne Ritchie, which used to always bring new colors to the mundane. Megamind sat in front of the TV and watched Roxy's reports, where she said that people miss Macho Man, she misses him. Her operator tried to ask her out again. She politely refused and went for a walk in the museum. At the same time, Megamind also went there. He was talking to the statue, as was Roxy. Megamind admitted that he didn't see the point in being evil unless good stopped it. He was about to destroy the museum, but at the same second, Ritchie heard someone speak. The thief was in pajamas and started to run away. At the exit was Bernard, a museum worker. Megabrain dehydrated Bernard and turned into him with the help of the clock. Ritchie appeared. Megamind in the form of Bernard tried to escort her out of the museum because he was going to blow it up. He shared his worries that no one would challenge Megamind anymore. The reporter backed him up, saying that there will always be someone to fight back against Megamind. Heroes were not born. Megamazop came up with the idea that he wanted to create a hero. He was going to give someone the power of Macho Man. On the cape that remained from Macho Man, there were several pieces of DNA that could have saved him. The servant began to say that it was terrible, but the thief had to sneeze. He created a capsule with the power of Macho Man, and the main goal was to find the right person who would put helping people above all else. At the same second, he received a call from Roxanne, who knew him as Bernarda. She told about finding a lair. He asked how it was. The attendant showed the CCTV footage of her standing right in front of the entrance. A fight began, where from time to time Megamind became Bernard, then himself. Roxy and Megamind grabbed the syringe with the golden capsule containing the Macho Man particles and accidentally shot it. DNA particles found their way into Hal, Roxy's operator. Bernard, Megamind, and Ritchie left the lair. The girl hugged him, thanking her partner for helping her. The Minion and Megamind came to see Hal's steward. The process of turning Hal into a superhero has begun. The thief disguised himself as an old man, who began to tell that Stewart's father was from space, and the minion was a space mother. The operator changed physically, gained muscle strength, began to fly, because he had the power of Macho Man. Megamind in the form of an old man began to teach Gal how to be a superhero, while simultaneously hanging out with Ritchie, learning more about her. It was through Roxanne that Megamind cleaned up the city, returned the paintings to the gallery. He wanted to do everything to make Roxy happy and laugh. She also admitted that Macho Man was never to her taste, even if everyone thought that there was something between them, and Megamind Bernard, in turn, that everyone hated him at school. Gal received his costume and was given the superhero name Titan. Titan was about to fight Megamind. The minion was trying to make him a new costume while Megamind was about to go on a date with Ritchie. The minion started talking about how Roxy would find out about Megamind pretending to be Bernard, but he in turn admitted that he didn't want to be a heathen anymore. The thief emotionally replied that he no longer needed the servant, so the latter packed his things and left. Turning into Bernard, went on a date with Roxanne. While the Titan flew to Ritchie and tried to hit her, fly around the city. And then they landed on the tower and he broke his personality. Roxy was trying to get into Gal's mind, because even if he had muscles and a cool suit, that was no reason for her to be with him. Megamind Bernard patiently and nervously waited in the restaurant for the journalist. After a while, Ritchie came in and talked about how she understood why Megamind created a new hero. Their evening was watched by Titan. Bernard began to ask, wouldn't she be disgusted if he had a bald head, a different body? She replied that you don't judge a book by its cover. When Roxanne kissed Bernard, at the same second the disguise of the wristwatch went off and Megamind was sitting instead of the museum worker. People were shocked, including the girl herself. He went after Roxy, asking about what she said about not judging a book by its cover. She said his actions were terrible. He killed Macho Man and also won Richie's favor. Megamind returned home disappointed. The servant was not around. The thief became determined to finish what he had started and fight the Titan. Megamind piloted a huge suit to fight Titan, but the superhero didn't come. The thief flew to jail and then saw that the former operator was just playing games. There were also bags of stolen money. Megamind realized that Gel was a thief who fell because, having such a gift, everything was for his own enrichment. And then he admitted that he was his space dad, and he was also the intellectual worm who kissed Roxy. The Titans started to fight Megamind, but things didn't go as planned. The superhero was going to kill the thief. Megamind threw the copper dome, but it didn't stop him. People began to say that they were saved and that he had set them free, but he only replied that he had not. Titan became the new enslaver. Megamind came to Roxy begging for help. They both didn't understand why the copper had no effect on the Titan. They went to Macho Man's hideout, which was a former school. There was Macho Man, alive and well. Macho Man explained that he was just tired. The former superhero wanted a choice and he made it by faking his death. Macho Man refused to save them. Megamind lost his faith and turned himself into prison, and Richie tried to find a common language with Hal. Titan grabbed Roxy and tied her to the metro tower. The show began with the participation of Megamind, who wanted to save Roxy. Macho Man is back. But in reality it was Megamind, and the minion was injured. He took off his cloaking technology and people saw him. Megamind fought the Titan and then used a syringe to extract Macho Man's power from the Titan. Megamind won. The servant was saved by being thrown into the fountain. Megamind became the new hero of Metro City.